The challenges for the Quad are firstly, the attention that's given by leaders in the four countries and the resources they're prepared to commit. So we've seen some, initial positive steps like cooperation on maritime domain awareness. A recent thing that came out of the May leaders meeting was working with the Pacific island of Palau to upgrade their telecommunications infrastructure with the ORAN technology. So those are good first steps. It's a good start, but there's a lot more that could be done. And if we don't see that commitment to on-the-ground change and resources, then other countries in the region, maybe even some Quad governments themselves, will start to question whether it's an effective grouping and whether there's actually any real meat on the bones of these efforts to provide a competitor to China's efforts in the development space. That's one big issue. Another challenge is obviously the attitude that's brought to the Quad by the United States, which is the most important member of this group. I mean, is it a diplomatic priority? Is the U.S. really engaged with the region in a way that values these allies and partnership groupings? So if we saw a drop off in that would be a huge challenge to the Quad. And I think maybe a longer term challenge that's worth thinking about and proactively planning for amongst the Quad governments would be if we do get to a stage in a few years or decades where there is a serious security incident with China, whether that's a kind of blockade scenario around Taiwan or a military dust-up in the South China Sea, there are different interests that different governments have there between the United States, India, Australia, Japan. So what would the response be, and how would those differences be managed? Because I think that if something like that happened today, there'd be a bit of a shock to the system, because the United States would be in one place, preparing to potentially get directly involved with China in a military way, and the other countries, especially India, having very different views of what the correct response should be. And to avoid, misunderstandings, to avoid such an incident, really breaking apart the Indo-Pacific coalitions that America and its allies and partners are building, preparation is needed, honest conversations are needed, and perhaps there's other ways apart from direct military involvement, such as through economic responses, sanctions that can be thought about in advance, and that element of surprise, and hopefully nothing like that ever happens, but that element of surprise can be reduced, and everyone will know where each other's country stands, and there'll be a stronger response, and also stronger deterrence. If we know that's in place, if China knows those things are in place, then it's less likely maybe to overstep the line and do something that it regrets.